Alright.
Newsom, the head of...
What up, y'all? Planet of Fakes here. And I want to show you in real time why black people don't know the difference between the United States and America. It's because ignorant people like this. He's sitting there on television with My Soul's Not For Sale, but everybody know Black Lives Matter is funded by foreigners. But I'm going to show y'all why black people don't know what states and cities are and why black people swear to God the United States is America. I just listened to a couple of seconds and he spits the same retarded jargon.
Black Lives Matter for Greater New York. Good to have you with us tonight, sir. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, obviously, people watch what you say in that video that you want to now shove legislation down people's throats now that you have everyone's attention. And you also have said that violence is sometimes necessary in these situations. What exactly is it that you hope to achieve through violence?
Let me pause it. Violence is never necessary. And this is why people so ignorant. What's easier, learning what a state or city is and realizing you're not in them, or continue to pretend you're in a state and city and have to use violence to get your way? One is going to put you in a death penalty place, and the other is going to have you on America. He's a U.S. is a citizen. These retarded citizens that think the United States is America, and you're going to see why I say that.
Violence.
Wow, it's interesting that you would pose that question like that because this country is built upon violence. What was the...
All right, country means company. If you think I'm lying, is the United States a country? Yes. Therefore, it is a company because we all know the United States is a company. America was not built by man. A higher power built America. Just like a higher power created, and I don't mean built, because I don't want to say that higher power built anything. He created America. Man created the United States company. You understand? And the company is not a physical thing. It's just on paper. The Constitution of New York, that's what man built, the Constitution. Man built the statutes that's enslaving this man. Man built that. Man didn't build the land. And that's why I always ask religious people, how could you believe in God but live inside a state which a man created? That's blasphemy to God. God didn't create states.
American Revolution. What's our diplomacy across the globe? We go in and we blow up.
Let's pause. The American Revolution was America versus the United States. Now, they teach us in school that America won, but in all actuality, Britain won. That's why the United States is occupying America. He's a United States citizen. When he says we go into countries, he's not talking about America, because America is the land. He's talking about the United States. Don't those soldiers' emblems say U.S. Army? It doesn't say America Army. This is why he's ignorant, and this is why black people don't know the difference between the United States and America. And we will never know the difference because you got ignoramuses like this that think United States and America is interchangeable. He is not an American. He is a United States citizen. So he could be from any country in the world. I am an American. I don't come from no other country. I was born on America. See, he's ignorant. He could be from Barbados and just became a U.S. citizen. He could be from Portugal and just became a U.S. citizen. A U.S. citizen don't mean you American. This is how you know people are ignorant, and this is why people are going to get put in FEMA camps, because they really have no right to be on America, especially U.S. citizens. And remember, the United States of America, not the United States is America. So now that I already showed you with verbiage that the United States is not America, where are these people pretending to live? Y'all can't answer that, just like you can't answer what a state is. He's a dummy claiming that he's from New York. If you ask him what New York is, he couldn't even tell you. And you following these dudes, and your children following these dummies.
Countries, and we replace their leaders with leaders who we like. So for any American to accuse us of being violent, it's extremely hypocritical.
All right. The reason he's saying American, because all these sellouts have to say America. They can never bring up the United States because they don't want the people to hate the United States. They need black people to hate America. That's the last ingredients to naming all black people military, homegrown, enemy combatants, aka terrorists. Don't you notice on every news station they talk about America, but all these dummies represent states? This is why black people don't know the difference between America and the United States. And he's a dummy. Somebody need to tell his dummy it's the United States of America. It's not United States is America. Every time he brings up an American, it's treason. Because America doesn't go to other countries. The United States does. But he's a dummy that George Soros is using to trick your kids to be just like him so they could be homegrown terrorists. This guy is full of crap.
Now, when we talk about
but
violence,
you just
we
said
talk
in that
about
video,
using
sir,
self-defense
you said, I understand.
Why are you screaming and not allowing me to talk, ma'am?
Well,
you asked me a question, allow me to answer.
Go ahead.
I'm in the process of answering, and I won't be that much longer.
I'm listening.
Okay? You asked what we hope to achieve. We're talking about self-defense. We're talking about 4 or 5 police officers choking someone to death and someone from the community having the training to intervene effectively. We're talking about saving lives.
All right, I want to pause this. If black people knew what states or city was, police wouldn't be arresting us because they couldn't arrest us. And we wouldn't be walking around breaking laws thinking we could get away with it because we would have everything we need. This is our land. But the fact that people gave up being American to be a U.S. citizen and don't know what a state is, you're begging to be locked up. You're begging to be killed for betraying America. Just the fact that you believe the United States is America, that's a crime. You never heard of you can't help people overthrow America? Y'all trying to overthrow America by claiming that the United States is America. So that's something dumb that he said right there. You won't have no worries about police. Police are only enforcing state laws and city laws to people that's in the state, to people that's in the city. And it's crazy how black people refuse to find out what a state is. They just assume they in them. It's funny that people refuse to find out what a city is. They just assume they in them. Now that you assuming you in these things, you can't get mad at the security guard for the company if they want to do something to you. You have no business in a state or city. They are colonies. Are you colonists? Black people aren't colonists. Unless you came from England with the colonists, you shouldn't be in a state or city. You should be proven that slavery is non-existent by not being a citizen. That's how you prove you free, by not being a citizen. And this is America. You don't have to be a citizen. Why do you think they trick your parents into making you a citizen as a fucking baby? Because they knew once you grew up, you would never become a citizen. And look, people now don't even know you don't have to be a citizen because of dummies like this.
Nobody's talking about ambushing police officers. We're talking about protecting lives. And there's nothing more American than...
Why would you have to protect your life from your government unless it wasn't a government? And the United States ain't a government. It's a bankrupt company. Everybody know governments run off tax money. Just because you paying something to a company called tax doesn't mean that it is a tax. It doesn't mean that it's a government. I could have people giving me money right now and saying it's a tax. Would that make me a government? No. It just makes me taking money under false pretenses. And that's what the United States does. It makes y'all hand over money voluntarily under the false pretense you believe they're a government. But any 8th grader could tell you, governments run off tax money. If governments run off tax money, why does the United States owe foreigners $28 trillion? This is how you know people stupid. And the fact people not even keeping up with the debt or asking questions about the debt, it shows me that they're traitors. Because the one public policy they did enforce is no citizens could ever question the debt. That's why I'm not a citizen and I can question the debt. Even though it's not my business, I still don't want to see black people shackled and put in camps because they're the collateral for a foreign company that they believe is America. Ignorance. But let's continue listening.
And when we talk about uplifting and upholding the Second Amendment, I think that you should be applauding me, seeing as though you guys are huge supporters of the Second.
Let's pause it. Constitutional rights are not granted to fucking citizens. The Constitution created the citizen in the 14th Amendment. Now, whether it's valid or not, it doesn't matter. He's still pretending to be something that was created on paper. How can that paper protect the U.S. citizen? And this is how you know people are stupid. The Second Amendment don't apply to nobody that lives in a state. Why you think when y'all pretend to go from state to state, you need a license, dummy? You don't need licenses for a right. Do you need a license for the right of freedom of speech? No. You're supposed to be able to say whatever you want anywhere on America. But the fact that they took y'all off America and they brainwashed you to believe you in states, you can't say this here. Don't you notice none of these USA citizens ever badmouth the US? They only come out and say America because they training y'all to be homegrown terrorists and y'all falling for it.
Second Amendment, but it seems to be the hypocrisy of America that when black people start talking about arming.
Pause. Why does he keep saying America? Why he never brings up the United States since we got state police killing people? Again, this is how they confuse you to think the United States is America. He's not even American. If you ask him, he'll probably say he's an African American, which is no such thing. You can't be from two places at once. And it don't matter if his mother was African and his father was American. Wherever he was born, that's what he would claim to be.
Themselves and defending themselves, the talk is violence. But when white people grab assault rifles and go to our nation's, their state's capitals, it's all good.
All right. First of all,
if he's talking about states, he should never mention America because these are not American states. These are foreign companies. This is why he's ignorant. This is why the majority of people that follow Black Lives Matter is ignorant. And this is why they will forever be ignorant to either COVID or the police. Get them out of here. Don't be like them, y'all. Learn what states are and stop following these dummies.
never talked about my stance on the Second Amendment. I'm not criticizing you or praising you.
You don't support the Second Amendment? You don't support the Second Amendment?
That's not my role here to talk about my opinion.
I'm asking you a question. Do you support the Second Amendment?
The Second Amendment is part of our Constitution.
Yes or no? A lot of your viewers would like to know if you support the Second Amendment.
That's fine. But
the Second Amendment don't apply to U.S. citizens, dummy. Because you wouldn't need a license or a permit to go from state to state. Now do you understand why I don't believe states are places? Because my rights don't change no matter where I go on America. But these dummies ain't on America. These dummies are in the United States corporation. And just because it don't have a seal in the walls, it don't mean nothing. They got the contracts that you sign illegally because your mother can't name you. So the fact you signing all these contracts under a name you didn't pick, it makes you unlawful. It makes you a fraud. But they're not going to tell you this. They need you to be frauds so they'll never have to respect you in a court of law. Don't you see black people don't get respected in a court of law? Corporations don't have courts of law anyway. They have administrative proceedings because you're not people. You're their property. You're their employees. And what happens at your job when there's a problem with the policy? You go to an administrative procedure. That's what courts are on the United States side of this fake matrix y'all fucking letting kill your babies.
But that's not why we're here. And the only reason that I posed that first question to you, the way that I did was that I watched you, talking on a bunch of different interviews today, and you said, burn it down. You said, burn it down. It's time. So that makes me think that you want to burn it down.
I said, if this country doesn't give us what we want, then...
Now, whenever they talk about something physical, like he's saying burn it down, now you're talking about America. Because everything physical on the land is America. But the physical things on the land don't go to other countries and take it over. The company in charge of everything on the land does that. And the reason they're in charge is because they tricked you to believe the U.S. is America. Why you think black people will never renounce their citizenship? But this is my question. If the United States is treating y'all so effing bad and killing y'all, y'all should try renouncing your citizenship. See what they do to you. They're not going to do shit to you because they can't do shit to you. And that's how you know people are ignorant. Because if you renounce your citizenship, people thinking they're going to ship you to Africa. Take the free trip to Africa, dummy. But they not going to ship you to Africa because we didn't come from Africa. It's just another lie that they told y'all, just like you're living in a state is a lie. And you could thank your news channels. You could thank all your black athletes. You could thank Oprah. You could thank P. Diddy. You could thank all those dummies representing states and that can't even tell you what a state is. They all traitors.
And we will burn down this system and replace it. All right? And I could be speaking.
Stop. Wouldn't renouncing your citizenship be easier than burning down the system? But like I said, they don't want black people to be free. If you want to be free from the United States, renounce your citizenship and start working together, which is never going to happen. They got y'all hating each other so much, y'all never going to be able to work together. So y'all have to keep a state in place so y'all work for the state. So in a way, it's like y'all need the white man over y'all. Because without the white man over y'all, y'all uncivilized. You'll never build hospitals. You're never going to build schools. You're never going to have an army. You're never going to have private property. Y'all never going to have none of that because y'all cannot work together. Y'all too busy trying to be like foreigners. And the foreigners are here killing you. So what are you doing? Killing each other, trying to be like foreigners, calling each other the N-word, trying to be like foreigners. This dude is a clown. Black Lives Matter is a clown system, and if you live in a state and can't tell nobody what a state is, use a clown.
Figuratively, I could be speaking literally. It's a matter of interpretation. Like, let's be very real and let's observe the history of the 1960s when black people.
This dummy is now trying to justify saying burn it down, comes on the news and says burn a system down. How you gonna burn a system down, dummy? Now he's talking about figuratively. Why would you even say burn a system down? You can't burn a system down. All you could do is either consent to the system or non-consent. You consent when you're a U.S. citizen. You're a non-consenting when you claim, I'm not a citizen, I'm American. Once you're an American, now you have the First Amendment. Now you have the Second Amendment. Now you have the Third Amendment because you're no longer pretending to be in their company. Do you have constitutional rights at your job? No. So this is why you don't have constitutional rights in the U.S. company because you're pretending to be at work. And as long as you at work, you have to follow the U.S. policies. If you're not a citizen, you are not at work. You don't have to follow their policies. But anyway, y'all keep being ignorant, Black Lives Matter, screaming, racism, kissing state ass, blaming America dummies.
People were rioting. We had the highest growth in wealth, in property ownership. Think about the last few weeks. Since we started protesting, there have been 8 cops fired across the country. You remember they were telling us that there was due process. That's why the cop that choked Eric Gardner to death kept his.
And believe it or not, like these U.S. officials, they're not citizens. Because to become a U.S. politician, you have to renounce your citizenship. And they do renounce it. When they get sworn into office, they renounce their citizenship and they're no longer citizens. This is why the Constitution applies to them and their agents. But he's too dumb to know that. He's too busy telling y'all it's because of racism. I told you, I had to make sure I wasn't a slave. That's why I renounced my citizenship. And ain't no white man ever knock on my door and say, are you blase blah? Not that I'm going to say yes, but ain't no white man ever said I had to be a citizen. I ain't never meet a white man on America. Once I told him I wasn't a citizen, he said I have to be. That's against the law. They can't tell you a citizen.
Job and received raises for 5 years. Anytime a cop hurt a woman, hurt a child, hurt pregnant people, hurt our elders, there was always a call for due process. You must wait. You must wait. But the moment people start destroying property, now cops can be fired automatically. What is this country rewarding? What behavior?
And again, remember, country means company. America's not a country, dumbass. America's a continent, dumbass. But he doesn't even know that. He thinks he's on North America. We're actually in Central America. But this is what they do to make sure you don't know what you're talking about. Anybody that claims this is North America, they don't know that Canada's a company, and that's actually North America. They don't understand that Mexico is actually America. They're Central America as well. Then we have South America under it. Mexico's a company, but he's too stupid, and he's such a traitor for these foreigners, and all he doing is teaching your kids how to be racial homegrown terrorists, and this is why they killing them now. And this is why your mama's on TV screaming, crying, talking about their baby, and then the next day they kill another one.
is it listening to? Obviously not marching, but when people get aggressive and they escalate their protests, the
You feel
country
like that's when
listens.
you're getting
Cops
results?
get fired. Now you have police officers. You have Republican politicians talking about police reform. I don't condone.
And see, now they trying to act like you rioting, you're going to get your way. The only reason they doing that is because they want more riots. But once they get to a point where people get crazy out of hand, they're going to send in foreign troops, and they're not going to be shooting rubber bullets, buddy. They're going to be shooting real bullets, dragging your mamas and your babies out the house, dragging them on buses in the street, taking them to internment camps. And where Black Lives Matter going to be for that? Fucking nowhere. Why Black Lives Matter ain't coming up with a COVID vaccination? Why Black Lives Matter ain't coming up with a COVID cure so they could be the next trillionaires of tomorrow and save black people's lives? Because they're not about saving lives. They're about turning you into homegrown terrorists, and they're doing a great job at it.
Nor do I condemn rioting, but I'm just telling you what I observed.
You're saying that that's what appears to be working and getting results right now, and maybe that is something for everybody to think about. I just want to put up this quote from Martin Luther King, and I've heard you talk about Martin Luther King versus Malcolm X, and you said that he was an anomaly. Martin Luther King. He said.
I want to pause it. I don't got nothing against Martin Luther King. I don't got nothing against Malcolm X. But the fact that they tried so hard to integrate people into the United States company, that's why we don't have nothing now. Because they were sitting there campaigning to incorporate all of us, when in fact they should have segregated from us. Yeah, they burned down Black Wall Street. We were supposed to build 20 more somewhere else. We wasn't supposed to try to integrate with this system. We were supposed to get from around them, go where no people are, and build there. And once they came over there, used our American rights on them. But we so busy campaigning to be part of this system, we lost everything to it. They gave you jobs and took men out the homes. They gave you free education. You can't even tell me what you living in now. And all Malcolm X and Martin and them had to do was renounce their citizenships and not worry about the U.S. It's not your business. But the fact y'all want to be in these foreigners' business is why they killing us now. The U.S. ain't even 300 years old, and y'all letting that shit kill y'all. We've been on this fucking earth for thousands of years. This is how you know people stupid.
Let us be dissatisfied until that day when nobody will shout white power, when nobody will shout black power, but everybody will talk about God's power and human power. Do you agree with that?
I love the Lord. And my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, is the most famous black radical revolutionary in history. And he was treated just like Dr. King. He was arrested on occasion, and he was also crucified or assassinated. This is what happens to black activists. We are killed by the government. Well, and if you need context, if you read your Bible.
If the government is killing y'all, why are you still a citizen of it? Nobody ever addresses that. Why nobody ever addresses renouncing their citizenship? So guess what? You cannot fight a government if you are a citizen of it. You can only fight a government when you're not a citizen of it, and they try to exercise their rule on you, dummies. Now you see why I'm not a citizen? Because as soon as they try to enforce their rules on me, it's on and fucking popping. I'm not their fucking citizen. And I'm not one of these dummies that think just because I was born on America, I gotta listen to the United States. The United States is a bankrupt company. You a dummy for trying to be a part of something that owes the world $28 trillion. You heard me? You are a dummy. You are a dummy for being associated with something that owes the world $28 trillion. It's a fucking company. It's not no fucking government. Governments can't owe the world $28 trillion.
Bible will say that Jesus had feet like burnt brass and hair like wool. I don't know if you noticed, but our hair seems to be more like wool, and we seem to be likened to that color than anyone else. And, it's just a hypocrisy and the white supremacy in America and in the world that would show us portraits of
white supremacy in America. He's pretending to live in New York. Now, let me ask you something. If you have an area of America called New York, and the old York is in England, what does that tell you? It's not an American place. If he's pretending to live in somewhere called New York, and the old York is in England, It tells you it's a foreign company right there. Why you think they calling it New York? Let me give you an example. If we let a whole bunch of Africans take over a part of America and they called it New Nigeria, who the fuck would think it was America? We don't got no Nigeria on America. This is why he's stupid. This is why the people that follow him is stupid. And like I said, anybody that live in a state or city and say, my city this, my state that, and you can't tell me what a city or a state is, you a dumbass and you deserve what you get too.
A pasty white Jesus. Jesus was not white. We all know this.
Okay, I mean, I think Jesus is Jesus to all Christians, and people interpret him in imagery in different ways. Obviously, he was from the Middle East. We all know that. That's obvious. So
he wasn't a white man. We all know that, right?
I don't know. I don't
we all know
see
Jesus
how he was
white,
Middle
right?
Eastern. Yes, he was Middle East. Yeah. All right, we're gonna go. Thank you very much. I appreciate where you're coming from, and I appreciate you coming on tonight. And I know you're very passionate, and that you want.
Laugh at anybody that comes on television talking about race and can't tell you what a state is. He's a buffoon.
What's best. So everybody has different aims and different ways to get there, but I appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us.
I just want black liberation and black...
Shut up. The fact that you keep bringing up black and not bringing up the fact you can't do this to a man or do this to a woman, they're never going to take you serious because your skin ain't even black. His beard is black. If he was black, he'd be the same color as his beard. This is why people ignorant, just like white people are not white. If they was white, they'll be the color of that play button. So you lying even in court by saying you black. You're not black. If anything, you be considered brown people. But y'all gave that term to Mexicans. Retarded shit. Anyway, I'm going to give y'all a couple of comments on this video just to show you how much they trick people and how foolish people are for not knowing what states and cities are, but they citizens and having babies every day, making them citizens too, knowing that this government's killing them. Y'all call it a government, right? As long as you're a citizen, the company is your government.
Serenity.
Thank you very much.
Necessary.
Thank you for being here.